At this time, I'll call the November 16th, 2023 meeting to order for the Dickinson County Commission. Would you please stand and join in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one item to add to the agenda, and it's just to authorize one of the commissioners. I would be the first call if available, but to have one of the commissioners come in to sign documents prior to Thursday next week, since the courthouse is closed on Thanksgiving. And with that, I would move that we approve the agenda as amended.
I'll second it.
We have the motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The consent agenda includes the minutes of the November 9th meeting, also expenditures of $377,349.25 and checks of $8,925.28, a security wire of $4,293, escaped tax of $5,140.40, credit cards of $21,787.40, and then a utilities payment of $10,789.03.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it, but I'd like to have.
Okay, we have the motion second discussion.
Yeah, Jeannie, give an explanation of the escape tax.
The escape tax is the intangibles that were sent in after our cutoff date. We have a cutoff date for when we do our abstract, and those intangibles were received afterwards. So we have to add them as an escape tax so that we can get them on their tax statement.
And it's really not a confusing term, but it's not a typical one we have. So just annually this happens.
And it's
for intangible tax that
right.
Comes in. Okay. Any other discussion or question? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Commission comments, Ron.
I don't have anything.
Craig.
Yeah, I had a couple of township issues, Noble Township and Grand Township. I talked to Nell about both of them. One of them was, all road conditions. So that's pretty much explained everything in townships we get. That's all I had, Lynn.
Okay. The one thing that I would go ahead and just mention on my report is we had a dinner the other night, and there were some judges here that were part of the Court of Appeals, and they were going to be at the Eisenhower Library the next day. And then they had other judges that were here from the 8th Judicial District. One thing, it's always kind of nice to hear a compliment. People still kind of enjoy it's called the Legacy, but Brookville Hotel chicken. It's a nice draw and brings some good memories to a lot of people. So it's good that it's here. But also when you get a group of judges together, a lot of times they'll make mention of the facility here that we have in Dickinson County and the safety issue and just the flow of the courtroom. And certainly appreciate what the judges do, but it was nice to be able to visit with some of the district judges, not just from Dickinson County, but surrounding counties also. We do not have any petitions. We do not, or proclamations. This would be opportunity for public comment. So anyone that is online or anyone here in the audience, if you have some comments, if you'd step to the podium, introduce yourself, give your address, and we're here to listen to you.
Hi, I'm Whitney Garacki, the 1547 May Street, Hope, Kansas, 67451. I'm here on today to discuss the wind turbines, and I want to discuss about the birds, bats, and bees, but I don't think you're concerned about those because I'm not even sure you guys are concerned about the citizens in your county. But with the birds, I'm curious if anyone of you have talked to Dickinson County Pheasants Forever. I know that I believe that they're the second largest in Kansas for conservation and hunting. And with wind turbines, the reproduction of animals is way different than where they would be without wind turbines. You don't see birds in the area, and I drive through Marion County all the time. You don't see any birds. A lot of people say you can't find deer, anything like that. I also want to talk about my property rights. I know of at least 500 people in this county that would lose their property rights. And part of property rights is your enjoyment, correct? And the reason why I say 500, there's many people, business owners, that don't want involvement in this, but I have talked to them personally and know that they don't want wind turbines. So part of property rights is enjoyment. I personally, and I know lots of people that don't want them, and they would lose their enjoyment of their own property, right? So that's one thing to consider, and I get everyone has their own property rights. If it was a 8-foot tall wind turbine, great, that'd be great, whatever. 700 foot, no, that's ridiculous. I was also going to state that I personally know people with contracts that are stating that they need money for their farms. They need money for this. I'm sorry, but everyone in this economy needs money right now. It's not just them. And with the money, I've noticed recently, I don't know if you guys know the Chiefs game that happened in Germany. People with contracts went to that. So is it more of a luxury thing that they can do withhold? Is that what it's for? Or I thought they needed money for their farm. Like, I don't understand that. I also have a question for Ron Roller.
Yes.
I have concerned residents of Dickinson County coming up to me and questioning why Mary Sue Roller, Woodbine mayor, is saying that this is a done deal. I don't know if you have talked to your wife about this, but she is telling residents in Dickinson County this is a done deal. And you have told people dearest to my heart that this is not a done deal. So who is?
Well, you need to talk to her then, not me.
Okay.
Think about it.
Okay. Well, I will.
We've not talked about it much here at the commission. It hasn't gone through the proper channels yet.
Well,
So that you're giving us.
I have concerned
Mhm.
citizens of Dickinson County questioning why.
Well, thank you. And I just strongly recommend you just pick the phone up and give her a call or.
Okay, I will.
So,
Maybe I'll go to a meeting there.
yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then I was also going to state that in 2016, when I first heard about these coming to Dickinson County, I thought it bypassed us. So back then, my mom and I actually did a lot of research on wind turbines, and I've actually done a lot more research than probably anyone recently. I could also tell you that we found YouTube videos of how earthquakes are caused by wind turbines, anywhere from 3 miles to 20 miles away. You can't find that on YouTube now. You can't really find very many things on YouTube, Google, pretty much any site about wind turbines in the US. And I find it funny because I know that after COVID, a lot of media is controlled or dismissed or fact checked. So I don't know if you can find it anywhere now, but I just thought it was very interesting on the stuff that I could find when this first went through, and I honestly thought it bypassed us. So I don't know. I just want you guys to know that I could probably talk to you for weeks on end about all this stuff. And if you guys ever have any questions for me, my phone number's over there. I don't mind talking about it. It's kind of a weird position talking to you like this, but if you want to sit down and chat, I am willing to chat. I have talked to hundreds of people about this. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good afternoon. Good morning again.
Morning, sure.
Pam Wells at 1543 1600 Avenue in Enterprise. At last week's commission meeting, Ms. DeWeese was here from the Dickinson County Foundation and addressed the issue of wind turbine decommission. Being funded by that and indicated she had talked to a commissioner. And we keep being told that you can't discuss it because nothing's been filed. So I was wondering who had talked to her and what about?
I had visited with her and some of the discussion we haven't had anyone formally from the company get in touch with us. One of the things that I've noticed, even if someone's for it or against it, the decommissioning or what type of restrictions or regulations is a concern. And, just as you mentioned, Whitney, as far as like the birds and so on. I mean, so we hear different discussion points that if this would go in, or if it would not go in, how are you going to handle that? So I think the concern that she was trying to raise, that part of the formula, from what we understand from other counties, is that they also sometimes set aside a fund to deestablish or decommission a turbine. And sometimes it's through that of a bond. And so I think what her suggestion was, if it ever gets to that point, why not have them come up with money in advance that could be held locally? And so that was just kind of an angle that she was bringing up. And from the discussion with her and what she said, I was not under the opinion that she was in favor of it necessarily, but it was just, if it ever gets that point, don't just roll over and let a turbine company do whatever they want. Don't have them dictate the terms. And so that's, that was just something I think that's why she brought that up. And it wasn't on the agenda. It was just kind of by random. She was here for something else. And it was like, oh, by the way. So.
I was.
But a citizen is allowed to talk to me and I'm allowed to talk to a citizen.
Okay. Appreciate that.
I mean, as far as input, but I mean, and I hear both sides, and I've got got a pretty good stack of paper from emails and printed materials that people have provided us, both for and against it. So.
The last time we came in and spoke to you gentlemen, my understanding was that it was going to be the end of this year when the permit was filed, and then the beginning of next year when the hearing was held. And according to an article in the newspaper, now NL is saying that they're not going to file until the third quarter of next year. Have you been updated on that situation at all?
I haven't heard direct, other than kind of the hearsay of someone from a company would talk to someone and say, it's probably next year.
Okay.
And it goes back to the process, is there still has to be an formal application made, and contracts that they've had individuals throughout the county sign, that's a separate piece.
Correct.
But until they do that and it goes to planning and zoning. Yes.
Yeah, I think Janelle said Tim had talked to her, and it'd be the second quarter of next year before they might come in and present ask for the planning and zoning permit.
Okay.
That's all fluid, I guess would be the way to put it.
And they could move that up, or they could withdraw their request. I mean,
Or they could move it back.
and move it back.
So are you gentlemen reading, you say you haven't discussed it among yourselves. Are you gentlemen reading the information that we're providing to you as we go along? And are you researching it, or are you waiting until something's filed?
I've been reading it, and I'm not going to wait till something's filed because I want to have information. I've went to the websites and stuff, and I've heard from constituents in my part of the county, what their feelings are. When, ask people, one specifically, what are you for or against it? And I'll be real honest, it's about 50-50.
And I think all of us look at the material, but having said that, I haven't gone into a deep dive where that's just all I read. And there's a lot of things that I read besides that but I have saved them so I would have them for review. And, the other thing is it still is a possibility. It's still a possibility it will never happen.
Right.
I mean, I'm not holding out for that. I'm not predicting that, but I'm not going to invest lots and lots of time. Having said that, when I receive something, I've read it, a few things I've marked or highlighted, but I've also saved the materials. So I have them as a reference point. And from that standpoint, some of them are opinions and some appear to be more, you still have to make sure that it's correct information or try to establish that. But there is a consistency that I see. And I've visited with a few people that have them in their area that were for it. And I've visited with people that are against it.
Have you visited with other counties that have dealt with this issue?
A little bit. And we're going to a KAC convention here in December. So there'll be commissioners from Harvey County there and Reno County. There's also going to be commissioners from Marion County where they have them. And so we'll have a chance to just visit a little bit about it. And, for me, it's kind of gathering the information. I mean, it's not decisive. This is the way it's going to be or not be.
So are you aware of the way that this splits communities while it's going on in a several-year process?
But that's something I don't have control over.
I
talked to a family. I talked to a family from Iowa, and it was her family property, generational. And she told me, and she and her husband disagreed on it.
Oh, we've got several people on it.
And they, same household, and they resolved their issue. And up there, she said it even caused a split within their church to a degree. So, I mean, I know
I know that.
Sadly, it's a very controversial issue. Yeah.
And I'm aware that's already happening here in Dickinson County. Do you not feel that you have the right to ban them outright without any kind of request being made? Is that not a possibility?
We have the options, but for myself, until we get a request, that's when I'll consider it.
But would that not solve the problem of the divide in the community?
It would still create a divide, I believe. But anyway.
Very small.
But anyway, thank you for that suggestion.
I believe there's a lot fewer people that are in favor of them than that are against them from the research that I've done within the county and the number of members that we have in our group.
Okay, well, thank you for the information. And
thank you. And I would appreciate an opportunity to visit with you gentlemen, and especially you, Mr. Roller, since you represent Logan County.
Absolutely. And I will mention on that, if we have a meeting where there's all three of us and it's a public meeting and so on. But if it's outside of this, I mean, you can visit one-on-one if that works, but we can't, a group of us or the three of us, visit your group. It needs to take place here.
So if we have a speaker, can you attend our meeting and listen to the speaker that we have?
I could. I don't know that I would, but if I was aware of it, I'd consider that.
Okay, thank you.
And some of that I kind of gave my opinion. So if someone wants to add to it or whatever, feel free. So when I speak, for example, I'm not speaking for the commission, and the same when Commissioner Chamberlain or Roller speak. At this point, we're kind of giving our own take on it and approach on it. There's some online, and I don't believe anyone has a public comment. And so we'll go ahead and move on. Our next item is our report of the county officers, and we have our finance director here today, since Janelle has had another meeting.
I'm Marcus Rothschild, Finance Director for Dixon County. I just wanted to announce that we were awarded the 2025 off-system bridge project for the bridge at 1160 1100 Avenue. That goes over Turkey Creek. It's just east of the new Basil Church. This off-system bridge project will actually be funded at 100%. 80% of that would be federal funds and 20% from the state, up to a maximum of $1,250,000. Right now, the current estimate is about $1,306,000 on that bridge. In some conversations with Martin, he feels pretty confident that he thought it could likely come in under that maximum amount. So that was good news for the county. And then also, the courthouse will be closed November 23rd and 24th for Thanksgiving. And so no commission meeting will be held next week.
Okay, and Doug Thompson is in the courtroom out of county today, so no report from him.
That's correct.
Okay. Under our notices and communications, we had our county newsletter that we received, and that was pretty much it. We did hear information as far as the landfill and the free day pickup that we had. So we did have that where the tires were brought in and so on. And so we'll kind of work on that. Also, Harold Portis was here earlier this morning. He's with Memorial Hospital, and he is one of the ones that has and I think has also visited with some people with Council Grove Hospital, but they are looking into getting a clinic set up and established, and trying to do that within 90 days or thereabouts. But there's also regulations and various things they have to do with KDHE and in the medical field to be licensed. But they're looking at setting up a clinic, which is going to be very helpful for anyone that lives in the Harrington area, where they could get some immediate service. And so we appreciate him stepping forward on that, but also they are needing to raise approximately $50,000 in their budget to do that. And so the county is giving consideration on how we can help on that. I think there's going to be some other people that may be involved or groups. But we had that discussion at 9:30 this morning, or 9:45. We do not have any resolutions or unfinished business. We did have one item we added to the agenda. As Marcus had mentioned, the courthouse will be closed next Thursday for Thanksgiving. That's when we have our Thursday meeting. And since there's no meeting, we need to go ahead and have an official authorization that either I or one of the other commissioners can come in and sign any necessary paperwork on Wednesday. And so I would make that motion that we do that.
Second.
We have the motion and the second. And as I mentioned, I can come in, but the backup, either Craig or Ron can come in if I'm not available. Any other discussion?
I'm good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do not have any other business to consider. Is there a
So move.
motion for adjournment? Okay, we have the motion and second for adjournment. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.